Hi, thanks for stopping by and checking out this video. Today I'm going to talk about my top 5 tips to making consistent progress practicing and playing the guitar. For tip number 1, I highly recommend you create a consolidated practice plan or routine. So practicing and playing a musical instrument is a lot like hitting the gym or like, let's say, trying to lose weight. It's all about consistency, making goals, and sticking with it. So by creating this consolidated practice plan, we can basically put different maybe techniques, theory, songs, different things that you're trying to accomplish, and then every time we sit down to play, we can quickly and efficiently blast your way through it. Now, like I already said, practicing is like going to the gym. So if you're trying to lose weight, you can't go to the gym twice and then just eat pizza and drink beer all the time. That's obviously not gonna work. You need to be consistent and you need to stick with your goals. So, try to make a practice schedule that works with your work schedule, whatever your life is. So basically, if your goals are, let's say, to get really good at alternate picking, come up with 5-10 different great alternate picking exercises and then start each practice session by cranking your way through them. Maybe you want to really get good at sight reading. Sit down and spend the first 10 minutes of your practice routine running through some sight reading. Maybe you're really trying to get better at chords and chord voicing. Again, come up with some sort of a consolidated practice routine, something you can do in a steady, scheduled amount of time. That way you can be as efficient as possible. You want to try to avoid noodling around on the guitar and wasting time because life is short and practice time is short, so we got to make sure we're optimizing that with a consolidated practice routine. So for tip number 2, I think this is one of the hardest ones that all of my students kind of struggle with, which is to set a realistic goal in what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Remember that your favorite musicians have practiced hundreds and hundreds of hours to get where they are. They've honed and worked on their craft very extensively for probably decades to get where they are. So if you're only gonna practice twice a week for 20 minutes, you're only gonna get better at that kind of a rate. So just keep in mind, a half an hour of practicing really isn't very much, especially compared to someone who's like a professional. Most people, especially when they're really cutting their teeth and developing their talent on whatever instrument it is that they're gonna play for hours and hours and hours at a time, working on little teeny nuanced details. So if you're not putting in those kind of hours and working on those small details, don't expect those small details to suddenly start popping up in your playing. It's really just not going to happen. You're gonna sound like an amateur, and you need to be okay with that. That needs to be part of the process of enjoying playing the guitar and enjoying where you are on it. So if you don't have the time to really woodshed, don't try to tackle the solo and crazy train if you only have 20 minutes to practice twice a week. You're just going to be frustrated with it. As much as it might be really cool to nail that solo, try to set realistic goals. Pick songs, pick techniques, and pick a goal that fits with the amount of time you can put towards the instrument. So now that we're about halfway through this video, if you're digging it, please hit like and subscribe, hit the bell, do all the YouTube nonsense, helps my little channel continue to grow. Here on A Minor Error, that's the name of my original project. I primarily do instrumental progressive metal music. It's available on Spotify, iTunes, and I have playthroughs on my channel. I also do product reviews, tip videos like this one, and also free music lessons. So those are the kind of different categories that I cover. So if you're digging it, hit like and subscribe. Let me know down below what you think of my list so far. number 3, you need to be consistent and you need to stick with this consolidated practice routine for at least 2 months. It's like going to the gym and trying to lose weight again. You're not going to just hit the treadmill 2 times and magically lose 20 pounds. That's not the way it works when it comes to fitness, and that's not the way it works to playing a musical instrument. So keep that in mind. That also is a good thing to keep in mind with our consolidated practice routine, because you might not even know the best way yet to go about working on your alternate picking or your sweeping or your strumming or your chord knowledge. So keep in mind that that consolidated practice routine is going to change and evolve over time. So maybe you really work on your sweep picking for 2 months, feeling pretty good about where it's at. Now you want to change it up and work on your alternate picking, and now you only need to use a little amount of time in that practice routine to basically maintain your sweep picking for the level that you developed it to. You're also going to want to change your practice routine if you feel like you're not getting the results that you want. That's probably the hardest part about practicing a musical instrument and can lead to this circle where you feel like you're chasing your tail. Remember, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If 2-3 months have gone by and you're not where you're at, you need to reassess what it is, how it is that you're practicing it, and change it. That's how you're going to get better. For tip number 4, remember you need to practice your guitar standing up. I have a motto for myself: if I can't play it standing up, it's useless to me. So hopefully that day will come where you're performing and have your chance to break through and make fans. The last thing you want is to now all of a sudden be unable to execute what it is you were doing sitting down just because you forgot to think about how the angle and the way everything is going to change by standing and performing with the guitar on a strap. Now, practicing sitting down is obviously a good idea, and as long as you use good posture, that'll help kind of mitigate some problems. But guitar players have this tendency of kind of like curling over the instrument and trying to look at the face of the fingerboard, and the reality of it is the second you put the guitar on a strap, you're not going to be able to see things the same. It's going to feel differently. So, highly recommend get practicing standing up with a strap way sooner than later. And for tip number 5, you need to stay critical but also positive about your playing. It's really easy, especially if you're playing and striving to become like a professional guitar player, to really get frustrated and start to feel like you're not making progress either as quick as you need to or as quick as you'd like to, and then start to get down on yourself. Try to stay positive, but also don't delude yourself. Be critical. Where are you actually at with your alternate picking or your sweeping or whatever technique it is that you're working on? If you can be critical and positive, you can identify your weaknesses and then figure out, okay, I want to get better with that weakness, and then now you can get started and work on it. Add that new thing you've discovered that you might not have realized about. Maybe your muting isn't as good as you thought it was, or maybe your picking accuracy isn't as good as you thought it was. That's okay. It doesn't mean you suck. It doesn't mean you're a terrible guitar player. It just means this is an area you need to work on. So stay positive, but be critical. If you can do that, you're going to make consistent progress over time. And just as a bonus to go along with this, keep in mind that plateaus are natural and they are human. There's nothing you can do to avoid them other than stay consistent and stay positive and stay focused. If you're starting to feel burnt out, Take a break from the guitar for a couple days or for a week. There's nothing wrong with that. After a break, you can be able to come back fresh and refocused to really get to work and start getting better. So if you're starting to feel burnout, go ahead and take a break for a couple days or a week, but don't let it go too long, because otherwise you're gonna get super rusty and you're gonna be just starting all back at the beginning, trying to get back in that same headspace that you were 2 months ago. So thanks for watching this video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know about what you think about my 5 tips. I'd love to hear if there's something that you're doing that you think is super critical to your practice routine that really made a difference.